Awkward Interruptions. We're here with Floater, Portland Legends, coming up here playing the Crystal Ballroom on the 30th of December. You guys have played the Crystal Ballroom a bunch.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are you looking forward to about this coming up show specifically?
Oh man. I mean, it's just, I love that venue. It's gorgeous. I've got a pretty long and lovely relationship with McMenamins, and you know, every time it's kind of just something really special. And also this particular show, we're doing something that we've never done before, and it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's exciting.
Okay.
Which is that we had like an online poll, and we let people vote for what songs they wanted us to play.
Oh, nice.
That's
And
awesome.
you know, we have enough records out over enough years that there was a lot to choose from.
Right.
And so we're playing kind of the songs that got the most votes. And so rather than kind of doing what we usually do, which is putting together our set list the way, you know, we would imagine it, it was like, okay, well, what do these voters imagine?
Yeah.
It's been a pretty cool exercise in just doing something out of the box, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Was there like a consensus
gonna
from
say,
the
yeah.
voters on what the song should be, or was it like a pretty even spread across?
There was a shocking lack of consensus. It was,
Really? You guys have 9 albums?
9 studio albums, maybe.
is that right? I think
You're starting in 94 was your first album, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
last came out in 2018.
Yeah, The Thief came out in, yeah.
So was there like an era that people picked mostly from?
You know, not really. It's funny, but over the years, it seems like people who get into the band, they seem to always really like the thing that they got introduced to the most.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they met someone at a party in 2012 and they heard, you know, Stone by Stone or whatever, then they're like, oh, that's the best record.
Right.
And they want to vote for a bunch of songs on that. And it depends on, not always, but it seems like most people kind of lean towards the thing that they first experienced.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you guys are kind of known for your live shows. Did this kind of voting process, now listening to your albums, they all feel, have like a congruent almost feel to them, a really good flow from song to song. Live show wise with samples and stuff, you have that same feel. Did picking these different songs and stuff affect the fluidity, you think, of what you have coming up here?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was tough because when we just get to look at what we want to play,
Yeah.
we can say, well, this would go well here, and this is a nice place in the show to play, you know, this song now, or but you know, when it's like, well, this got the most votes,
Yeah.
I guess we're playing it there.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting night.
For capo placement and tuning for me alone, that's a nightmare situation that I would probably have a mental breakdown. So commendable. How many shows do you guys typically do in a year?
Four or five, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, not. I mean, we used to do a lot more before the pandemic,
Right.
and that kind of just killed touring for a pretty long time. So these days, you know, they're sporadic.
Any chance you're gonna kind of pick it up again and hit the road hard?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you guys started out in Eugene, is that right?
Originally,
Correct.
yeah.
Originally down in Eugene. And when you started out, were you playing like parties and stuff like that around kind of the campus area?
Yeah.
That's kind of where it started out, and then
Yeah.
that grew to playing the college. Creative wise, you know, shift between playing parties in Eugene and then you're in Portland in '98 writing, you know, stuff. Was it different? Did it affect the music that you guys were producing?
What do you think? I mean, I think, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I want to say yes and I want to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know, our lives were changing at that point too. So as we all know, the art changes with your life. So, but we kept playing and, you know,
Yeah.
touring local out all around the West Coast. So,
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
relocated.
the move was the move. Oh,
Well, just, you know, venues are a huge influence.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know, playing parties, your all your gear's getting beer dumped on it and everything's been knocked around. You can't really hear what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you tend to do more sloppy, high energy kind of party stuff. And when, you know, you have a proper sound system with a front of house engineer and a monitor engineer, and you can hear what you're doing, you can craft more,
Uh-huh.
use dynamics more. You can play, you know, you can play quiet and build up to something really big. So I think just, I mean, personally, I feel like you get a better palette when you can play in a good venue.
Yes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think the best sounding venue you guys have ever played at is? Is there a standout? I mean, the Crystal's got to be pretty freaking great.
It's pretty great.
Your recordings that you guys did at the Aladdin Theater sound really good.
Oh yeah, the Aladdin's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so those two maybe in Portland or?
Yeah, I mean, those are good. I actually, the Roseland Theater has really good. You know, it's funny, people love the Roseland and they hate the Roseland depending on
Yeah.
where they sit, I guess.
Yeah.
But on stage, it's fantastic. The sound is amazing.
I love the Roseland.
Yeah.
It's like just enough of a dive bar, you know, where it feels real still, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to look at my notes real quick. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
So is it true that sometimes when you're doing live performances, you'll kind of mess around with some of the words you use on verses?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
Can you tell me how that started and what's up with that? Because that's awesome.
Well, I would say it's two things.
Uh-huh.
And how it started originally in the very, very beginning was that we were touring a lot and playing a lot of kind of like college bars, and the audience would sing along so loud that I couldn't hear myself.
Yeah.
I found that the only way that I could make everybody stop yelling out of tune at me was to sing something completely different. And then they would kind of stop singing along and kind of just listen. And then I'd go back to what the actual, you know, original lyrics were or vocals were. And so that's kind of how it originated. But then it got more so because, you know, when you're playing kind of night after night on the road,
Yeah.
it's just for fun. Like, it's, you know, you don't want to just always do everything exactly the same way.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, we've never really considered ourselves to be a jam band at all, but we do like to make things to kind of customize it every night, you know, a little bit, and try, or, you know, go out on a limb, kind of try and break
risk.
Yeah, it takes, because if there's no risks, then like it's just not fun.
It's not an
Yeah. Definitely.
Sometimes it's a train wreck.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
you try something, it goes nowhere, sounds horrible, and it's like, well, we tried.
Yeah, we would have train wrecks kind of in the early days, and then fans would come up after the show and be like, "That was so great." Really? Okay. And that's very emboldening. It makes you feel like, okay, well, cool. Like, people are they're not going to get mad, you know.
Yeah.
So take a chance.
Yeah, that's how art happens.
Yeah, not bad advice. Remember, there was this one time we were having really bad tuning problems because we use a lot of capos. And afterwards, somebody came up and told me that that tuning part was like the best part of the show, and that we were like heroes for soldiering
Yeah.
on through that. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that was the nightmare.
That was a technical disaster, actually. So thanks. So yeah, the audience does kind of seem to be forgiving of those train wrecks sometimes.
Yeah.
Or at least get a kick out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's audiences are pretty smart, and if it's coming from like you just haven't practiced or you're just incompetent,
Yeah.
they'll walk away. But
Yeah.
they can tell that you're trying something, then they'll kind of always give you an A for effort, you know.
Yeah. Even a good freak out is interesting to watch happen. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complete meltdown sometimes is the best.
Well, I've had a few of those.
Yeah. So when you're changing these words, is it like how Leonard Cohen had 37 verses for Hallelujah, and he would just kind of slip in whatever he felt like the night that he was doing it? You know, do you have specific different things for each song, or what's the vibe with that?
I think it's a mix of a few different things. There are some songs where if I start to go in a particular direction, these guys will kind of look at each other and go, "Oh, I think we're doing that."
Okay.
And so sometimes it's like a little bit, I wouldn't say predictable, but they'll know, oh, it's we're doing that thing now.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just
Straight up freestyle.
yeah, it's like spur of the moment.
Pretty
You know, you'll just see something in the crowd or remember something that kind of and a lot of the lyrics for these songs are very sort of abstract, and it's easier for me with that kind of lyric style to branch out into like image associations. So it's kind of either way.
That's awesome. So you guys have been independent your entire career, and which is like amazing. It's so freaking commendable that you guys have put out 9 studio albums and have had the career that you guys have had independently. We're an independent band in Portland too. You know, why do it from Portland? We love Portland. We definitely do. But what makes you guys kind of, why did you choose Portland?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for these guys, but I know certainly for me, I mean, I was born down in Eugene, and I would always come to Portland as a kid because it was where all of the if a band was on tour, if you wanted to go see somebody big, you were going to go up to Portland to see it. And so it had the allure of being, it was sexy when I was a kid. And when I actually got to move here, it was better than I expected even, and especially because anybody who was around in Portland in the 90s, it was a great place. And, I mean, it's enough to make you fall in love with the city for sure.
Yeah. Can I ask, what was the music scene like in Eugene when you guys were down there in the early 90s?
It was pretty thin.
Yeah.
I mean, well, to be fair, there was a couple of bands that we were friends with who I still today, I have their albums, and they were, Jollymon, Henry's Child, they were bands that were really good. Yeah. There just wasn't a lot of them. There was like a few.
Yeah.
And there was also really there was, the Wow Hall, and that was pretty much it for venues. So
John Henry's.
But John Henry's, is like a bar that holds a couple hundred. So if you were a local band and you were filling it, you were like, well, now what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so going from that sparseness to Portland then in the 90s must have been awesome.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was great because you could have in Portland, you could have these goals, and be like, you go see the Dandy Warhols and go, okay, we could play this venue if we can, let's tighten it up, let's get a video projector, let's do some, and
Yeah.
start kind of trying to build it, make it bigger, make it, more exciting, and there's something about having that carrot dangling in front of you that there's this really nice venue with this kick-ass sound system, and that you're like, okay, we got to get in there, and so yeah, it was attractive.
And the 90s scene in Portland, that time of year, or in 98, was like Dandy Warhols, kind of that kind of vibe. Yeah, it was past past like the Heat Miser stuff like that, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Heat Miser was still around.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like we could sit here between all of us having this conversation and just rattle off. I don't even know how many bands from Portland over the years, right? We could Decemberists, we could whatever. And if you just try to pick like the number of Eugene bands that you're aware of, that pretty much sums it up. And I mean, I love Eugene to bits. I go there all the time, and I have family and friends there. I love town, but it's a tough place to try to grow a rock band.
Yeah, there's something special about a bunch of creatives being creative in a creative community that really nourishes art, and helps expand what you put out there.
Yeah. Every time you play a show, somebody comes up and says, this is my friend. He is a filmmaker, and these are two of my other friends, and they're, interpretive dancers, and they do, and you're like, all right, let's make a video. And I mean,
Yes.
Great.
Yes. So when did you guys start incorporating more, like you were saying, projectors and other clips and stuff in your live shows? Have you been doing that since the beginning, or since Portland? You have.
From like before we played our first show.
Whoa.
When we would meet up after work and, just light a bunch of candles and incense and then, plug in and play just for ourselves. And it would be like, okay, let's put like a overhead projector over here with some oil colors and, just to make the atmosphere for us. And then, friends would come and hang out with us while we were doing that. And you should play a party, and, so it's always been there.
So what inspired that?
Probably drugs.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just, like music is great, but it's always asking for something visual, I think, at least to me. And it just helps make a more immersive experience, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. We've realized, so we've been a band about a little over a year. And when we played our first show, we wanted it to feel more than. So what we did is we added a night market to it. We did it in a place when it would generally be a day that it was closed. We did it.
I think
Your audio is breaking up a little bit.
I think we just lost your audio.
Yeah, we still can't hear you. You're frozen. Oh wait, you're not frozen.
Can you hear us? You can hear us? Okay, we can't hear you at all. It was going so well.
Is it gonna end?
How about now?
Oh,
Hey,
I
he's back.
think you're back. We got a little echo, but we could hear you.
Echo gone.
Echo gone.
And you can hear my voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are all good things.
All right. We can edit it out.
What I was getting to is just it should feel, I feel like it's way cool when a show feels more than just a show. And I think the performance definitely is part of that. But what you're talking about too with the, I mean, that all adds to it. That makes it something real special, you know. I think, you know, how you guys write songs too, at least how I interpret how you write songs, lyrically, really visual, a lot of really good storytelling. And I think that, you know, that probably adds a lot to that.
Well, thanks.
Also, you got a great tone on your voice.
We've done a few shows too where we will do like a theme for the, you know, have like tell people who are coming to the show, like everybody wear white. And then, you know, you put like different projectors, different places. And it's, I think in many ways, it's like the goal is to emphasize and reinforce that it's a communal, you know, like I mean, I tell people all that we can't do this if you're not here.
Yes.
And we're hoping that it's like everybody feels like we're all making the show happen.
Yeah.
And so trying to, like, you know, have lights that go all the way around the room, or, you know, a mirror ball or things like that that draw everyone into the center point. It's inclusive, and I like anything that we can do that, you know, like we played a fundraiser a couple of years ago where everybody wore all blue, and we did all like blue lighting, and we just made everything blue. We had like blue hair, you know, and it just makes it feel like everybody is all in one kind of big, weird orgy, and it's fascinating.
You're all in the same cult.
Yeah.
Dope. That's so dope, you know. But yeah, I think the answer is all of us together. You know, I don't know what the problem we're answering is, but but all of us together is how it should feel, you know. I hate Battle of the Bands. Like, I hate those things. I don't think they should exist. It's not about who's the better band. It's not about whose art is better than anyone else's art. That's a dumb thing to have. I hate Battle of the Bands, you know. It's not. Anyway, sorry.
Did you guys do a Battle of the Bands?
Nope.
Good for you.
Nope.
Yeah, we've done them. We've done Battle of the Bands in like way back, and it's kind of a dirty feeling.
Yeah.
You know,
So actually,
like, it just feels weird.
yeah. Our old band did a Battle of the Bands when we were like 16 at a strip club in Portland, and that was just dirty for every reason possible.
It's almost 5. We don't want to wrap.
Okay, so before we wrap it up, then we just talked about your amazing live performances. We talked about the set list that you got coming up here on the 30th. Tell me, you know, what's some cool freaking visuals you have kind of set up for the Crystal Ballroom show with their bouncy freaking floors, you know? What do we got going on?
You're just gonna have to come and see it. It's gonna be really cool. It's pretty. We started when we did the Pink Floyd Animals show. We kind of got into this new mode with the visual show, and it's pretty exciting.
Awesome. We cannot wait to see it. We
Yeah.
cannot wait to bounce around on the floor.
Right?
Well, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. And we can't wait for the show coming up. And yeah, thank you so much, Floater.
Yeah,
It was
man.
really great to meet you guys. Seriously.
Thank you.
Right on.